There is blind justice, and then there is trading justice, so that you can finally afford to get that laser eye surgery. Not only will people find you more attractive once you ditch those old glasses, you'll be able to see your charts better. That's what we call win-win. Speaking of winning, it's time for a little trading justice. Brought to you by TackleTrading.com.
Welcome back to the Trading Justice Podcast. My name is Matt Justice. I'm your host along with my co-host, Tim Justice. Tim, how are you doing today?
Doing fantastic. Excited about the holiday weekend. Just kind of hanging out at the house, trying to wrap some stuff up. But doing great. Thanks for asking, Matt. How about you?
You know what, Tim? I honestly think Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. I love the meaning of it. I love what it's about. What I absolutely
what
can't.
Does it mean?
It just means to give thanks when we took over the Indians' land. I mean, that's it. You know, was that bad? Was that bad too soon?
I think Columbus Day is my favorite holiday.
October 12th? Is that because it's the day before my birthday?
Yep. No, I'm just kidding. I don't even know why we have Columbus Day anymore. I'm sure I'm angering
By the way,
at least 10% of the population. But.
Well, honestly, what I meant to say, I think the politically correct, because that's how we get down here at the Trading Justice Podcast, is being politically correct at all times. I meant to say I think we're giving thanks for manifest destiny. That's what
I love Thanksgiving. I think it's fantastic. I love everything about the meal, the holiday. You know, one of my favorite things about Thanksgiving is there's no gift requirement.
No, there's not. You just have to go spend your money the next day and the following day after that. That's what I cannot.
I think that's insane.
I cannot stand that about Thanksgiving. I can't stand how Black Friday has turned into Cyber 19 days from now. You know, it's just everything about the moment after Thanksgiving. Everything up to, including the day after Christmas, I cannot stand. I can't stand what Christmas has become, but I still love Thanksgiving. I'll tell you that right now.
So let me ask you, at your joint, does your wife go shopping on Black Friday?
I don't want to talk about it. It's. I'm not ready. It's too soon. No, it's she does every now and then. I don't think she's going to do it this year. I think she does it most on like cyber stuff and whatnot. But she promised me this year that she would curtail, as the Fed would put it, curtail her spending on the spoiling rotten of our children.
You know, we put a little rule in at our house that my wife, Bree, she gets the kids a gift, and I get them a gift, and then Santa gets them a gift, and so they get 3 gifts, and that's it.
Three gifts, huh? That's it?
Which is still not exactly like you're being deprived, but we do three gifts. Yeah. Santa, the kids are still young enough to believe in Santa.
At what point are you going to tell the kids that there is no Santa? And if anybody in the Trading Justice community, if we just made breaking news, historic news, I apologize for that. But at what point are you going to tell Santa's gifts are not from Santa, but they're actually from you and Bree?
Well, I just realized somebody might be listening in the car with their kids in the back seat, and we just ruined Christmas for some kid out there.
We have stated many times that this is a PG-13 show. Anybody under 13, they probably already know Santa does not exist. In fact, I'll tell you, Tim, when I first figured out Santa didn't exist, I was 7 years old, and if you remember our old house up there on Fiddler Road, right up there on by Black Hill.
In Can Alley.
Yeah, it was Fiddler Road, thank you.
Nope,
but
look it up in the phone book.
It says Fiddler Road. But anyways, I digress. I remember hiding out behind that couch, that old couch, up in the upstairs living room, and I watched Mom and Dad bring out our presents and set up everything, and I was heartbroken. I was so excited to see Santa, and I was just heartbroken. I've never actually recovered from that.
They're doing a thing now with these kids. Some of these families are doing it where they'll stage a Santa, kind of putting presents under the tree. And then like the dad will be dressed in Santa, and the mom will be like, "Hey, I hear something downstairs. Do you guys hear that?" And then they go sneak down to try to reinforce that there is a Santa.
That we should continue to believe in things that don't exist. That's what we should reinforce.
I rank my kids on how much I love them based on which one is going to figure out there is no Santa first. That's my kind of kid, a true skeptic.
Let's see. If I had to put my odds, well, we're talking ages here, right? It's going to get Maddie. Maddie's going to figure it out. She's a smart one. She's on to things, and I'm not saying Sammy's dumb, dude. That's not what I'm saying. Don't you put words in my mouth. Sammy's a beautiful, beautiful angel. I'm just saying Maddie Lou is she's a badass. She's going to figure this stuff out. She's going to hold you guys accountable for it.
Oh, the Thanksgiving holiday. There's a lot going on in the news. Yeah. I do want to talk Thanksgiving at some point, but let's talk about
real quick. Let's get Thanksgiving out of the way, homeboy. What are you most thankful for this year? Dead serious. Let's play it serious.
Well, I would say number one is the unquestioned love of my wife.
She's an amazing person.
We've been together for a long time. We were dating before we were together for a couple years. We've had ups and downs, just like any relationship. And she's always there for me, you know. And that is one thing that has been really reinforced to me this year. You know, even through challenges, ups, downs, doesn't matter. She's there to support me, and that's probably number one.
You know what I love most about Bree? When she gets mad at you. It's hilarious. It's the funniest thing. She loses her mind, and it's just she can't get the words out, and it's just like she goes schizo for a second, and she just looks at you in this disgusting look, like what in the world? I love that about Brie. I think it's funny as hell. What else? You
I do plenty of things to make her mad at me too. So
yeah. That's what men do, man. That's how men get down. That's how we roll, as they say. But what else are you thankful for?
I am very thankful for an improved mindset this year. You know, I've been an entrepreneur instinctively my whole life. I've always been around people who start businesses. Those are the kind of role models I've had in my life from a young age, and it's contagious, Matt. It's the old snowball effect. And I've been doing a lot of things with that. We've been starting to tackle trading. We're getting our Trading Justice podcast up and running. We're enjoying doing those things. Yep. I'm looking at other businesses for next year. You know, I think I've talked about this. I know I've talked to you about this before. I can't remember all the conversations. You know how many coaches shows and webinars and mentorings I do? I forget the conversations I have with people. So if this is redundant, I apologize out there. But thinking about starting a homebrew store next year with a friend of mine here, a retail shop in Salt Lake City, and that's in the idea phase, and
I'm
thankful for that mindset.
I've seen a shift in you. Truth be told, I've seen a shift in you from a mindset this year, and it's a similar shift that I went through a few years back. In terms of the mindset, the business mindset, but also just the rich dad mindset. The Robert Kiyosaki and whatnot. We grew up in this business we call trading, and that's what we were. We were just traders, and that's all we cared about. And we cared about getting out there and performing our duties as a trader. And we had a lot of fun at it. We had some ups and downs and whatnot. But I'll tell you right now, what makes a great investor, not just a trader, but what makes a great business investor, not only is the proper skill set and content, but you got to have the proper mindset and thus context. And I've seen a great change in you recently from that contextual perspective, the mindset perspective, and it's been really, really cool, dude.
Well, and it's real. And I'll tell you, I've been a trader for 10 years. I haven't been a business owner in my trading that long. When I started trading, Matt, I would trade all day long, 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
I would want to be there watching every tick, and it's not that I don't enjoy that now. It's that I don't think it's the best way to spend your time. Mm-hmm. And time is the most valuable thing you have. And so if there are ways that you can automate your trading, if there are things that you can do to take yourself away from the situation, build other businesses, cement other relationships, explore other ideas, you should always do that.
Are you saying I shouldn't
when I talk to a trader?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say one of the very first things I do is we need to build the business that you want to build long term. You know, how do you want to run your account in 5 years? That's what we need to start doing right now, and building the strategies in and the mechanics and the techniques to allow you to do that.
No, it's true, and I was just thinking while you were talking, I'm in a trade on the euro dollar, and I'm sitting here just staring at the 5-minute chart while you're talking, but I still love doing that. But that's only on day trades, and some day trades I'll just place a stop loss and walk away. But that's how we used to be. Now we treat it more like a business. We're in and out. We place our stops. We hit our targets. And you run it like a professional business, and that goes to the mindset of it. Because as just a trader, you'll be stuck in just staring at the chart, doing all your things because you want to micromanage. And I'll tell you right now, once you accept that mindset perspective, and some people don't want to. Some people just want, well, just give me the rule. Let me do this. But that's not going to make you successful. And I was sitting with a guy this past weekend in Boston, and I was teaching an awesome group of students there in Boston. And one guy comes up to me at the end of it and says, "You know what, Matt? I really, really enjoyed it. I wish I would have learned more." And I said, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, you did like 80% sales." And I'm thinking to myself, that's not my presentation, not at all. I'm like, because I do a lot on economic theory, I do a lot on quantitative easing, I do a lot on currencies, reserve systems, and I'm just like, you just don't get it. You just don't understand. The thing about it is, if you sit down and try to teach somebody to trade in 3 days, all they're going to do is go out there and lose their money. That's it. They don't have the proper mindset. They don't have the proper skill set. They don't have the proper anything, and they're going to go out there and compete in a market that is dominated by active traders and high frequency trading systems. And it's just like, are you really just going to go out there arming yourself with a rule of what a call is? And by the way, I actually gave the rule to the calls and the puts and everything else out there. So, it's interesting in terms of that mindset versus content, because when I was talking to the guy, it reminded me of who I was 10 years ago. It reminded me of that mindset that I personally had 10 years ago in terms of, just give me the rule. Just give me the rule. Let me create a trading system. Come on, what's going on? And it wasn't until some things happened in my family and whatnot with my daughter that really kind of changed my mindset towards what is important in life. And that's really when I started accepting the Robert Kiyosaki mindset, the business mindset, the context, because to be able to handle whatever life comes at you, you need both content and context. And so I'm thankful for those types of things that I've had for the last few years. I'm thankful for that you've kind of been going through that journey now. But more than anything, as cliched as it is, I'm just thankful for healthy kids, an awesome family, an awesome wife, and just the ability to have a wife that supports me through and through in everything I do. With the podcast, with Tackle Trading, with my investing, with my traveling for teaching people how to trade and whatnot. Because without a successful, without an amazing person behind you, it really limits your ability to do what you need to do. So I'm very thankful for that. And you know what, Tim, and I'll say this, I'm extremely thankful for the people over there at Tackle Trading, the people at our Google group, the people, the students, and the people that are yearning and have taken on the challenge and the courage to invest in themselves, because it's something that I truly do believe in, that if you do not invest in yourself, you're going to get ran over by this market. You're going to get ran over by the economy. You're going to get ran over by the reserve system. And so I'm thankful that people that I've had the ability to befriend and teach, hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people this past year, and give them an opportunity to start doing this for themselves. It's an empowering feeling.
Yeah, and what your story actually makes me think. I've been mentoring for 10 years, and I've been encountering this for a very, very long time. You get a student who wants to learn something technical, and I just happen to teach trading and business mindset and all that stuff, but it could be anything. And when a student comes into somebody's classroom or office or starts that relationship, usually they just want to be told, tell me what to do.
Yep.
And what I've found is actually my job is to teach you how to think. And that's hard for a student who, that might have a certain perspective or desire to do it right away, to understand the perspective, But if I'm going to really invest my energy and my time and my mind, I'm going to do it the way I know that is best, and that's to teach somebody how to think about markets, how to think about money first. Because without proper mindset, you can have the mechanics, you won't get your job done the right way. You have to understand how traders approach a given day, how they approach risk, how they approach a certain situation. And you can do both, and you need to do both. I mean, at some point, you got to show somebody, okay, this is how you find a stock. This is how you build a bull-put spread, whatever it is.
Well,
but that all has to be with the backdrop of mindset.
It's so true. I mean, one of my favorite trading books is a book that doesn't teach anybody how to trade in any capacity, and it's the New Market Wizards book by Schwager. It's just a mindset book. Some of my favorite books out there are mindset books, like Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich and The Richest Man in Babylon. Doesn't teach you a thing about trading or investing or whatnot, but it talks about the mindset. The famous story from R.U. Darby and his uncle, who went out there to the Colorado mines during the mining rush. Bought some mining equipment, dug a hole, started digging for gold, found some gold, paid off the mining equipment, and long story short, the mine went dry. They didn't have the knowledge or the mindset to understand what mining was all about, so they sold their equipment to a junk dealer, who went out and hired a surveyor, who went out there and basically stated that these individuals, R.U. Darby and the uncle, they were 3 feet from the richest gold mine in Colorado history. And it was like R.U. Darby was talking about that later on, and because he became a very, very, very successful individual selling life insurance. And he basically said that lesson taught him a very valuable, that experience taught him a very valuable lesson. Never stop digging, never stop trying. And Napoleon Hill interviewed, hundreds of some of the most wealthy men in America.
There's another lesson there, by the way.
Yeah, but
there's another lesson.
Real quick, he interviewed about hundreds of these individuals, and basically they all said the exact same thing. My ultimate success, the moment where I had my ultimate success, came one step after utter failure. And it's not the content that gets you past that failure. It's the mindset that gets you past that failure. It's the mindset that leads to your ultimate success, and that's what people have to embrace.
There's another big lesson in that story. That what did the junk dealer do that they didn't do?
They hired somebody. They hired a mentor, is what they did. They hired somebody with knowledge.
The junk dealer knew how to do it.
No. The junk dealer hired somebody else.
Just took the equipment and said, "Hey, I'm going to bring somebody in that knows how to do it."
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
That's a big story right there. That's a big part of it.
It is a big part of it, because that's exactly what the junk dealer did. He didn't understand. He didn't have the knowledge. But you know what? He was a very wise person, because he went and hired somebody. He paid them money to find out. And that's another thing that a lot of people fail to realize. They hold on to their money like it's actually something of value. They get so scared about losing their money like it's actually something of value. Money is just a fiat currency. That's all it is. Money is just a hammer. It's just our tool in our tool belt. And that's how we got to approach money, because it's not money that's going to get you out of the rat race. It's your mindset. Money can be taken from you. Go ask the Russians, the Mexicans, the Chinese, the Hungarians, the Polish, the Germans, or 75 of nations' currencies over the course of the last 100 years.
Yeah. And for those of you who heard that term fiat currency and you don't know what that is, Matt, give us a simplest explanation.
It's a currency with no value. It's a currency with no actual value. Basically what it means is this currency is just a paper currency, which means that the only value it has is what it can buy with. Well, that changes over time due to inflation. What a non-fiat currency is a currency with a commodity backing. That commodity backing can be gold, it can be oil, it can be something along the lines. You can actually exchange it for something of value instead of just a purchasing power.
Yeah. You know, you guys are listening to the Trading Justice podcast here, Thanksgiving special edition. Matt, myself, we're here to just kind of have some fun, hang out, talk a little bit about mindset, talk about the holidays. One thing I wanted to get out of you today was some memories and some thoughts you have about your favorite Thanksgiving holiday, Matt.
You know,
or your Thanksgiving memory, I should say.
For those of you who don't know us very well, we grew up in a family that was very aggressive, hardworking. There were 6 brothers, 6 total boys, 1 sister. All of us are opinionated and somewhat of a know-it-all. And so Thanksgiving dinners growing up were riddled with discussions of religion and politics and sports and everything else that is typically very offensive to other people. So that's one of the reasons why we're not politically correct typically, is because we grew up the way we did. We grew up talking about these issues, and we should talk about these issues. But I remember one Thanksgiving holiday where I was probably 23, 24, you were 22, somewhere around there, and we had a big Thanksgiving down there at our mom's house. And everybody was just sitting there talking, and we were talking politics and whatnot. And somebody basically just got offended at somebody. I'm not going to say who that was. You know who it was. I'm not going to say who it was. And he starts kind of throwing a fit, starts swearing, and Mom basically just, for finally, after 15 years of dealing with this, just basically threw us out of the house, said, not going to deal with it. And so we all get outside the house, and we all look at each other. We're like, so, do you guys want to play a football game? You know, and so we all just kind of went and played a football game. But that's kind of just every Thanksgiving dinner growing up for us was just, you know, family talking, beating each other up, going playing football. There was always that football game we'd always play. But I'll tell you, one of my fondest memories growing up didn't have anything to do with family. It had something to do with sports, Tim. Mark, our older brother Mark, was a Dallas Cowboys fan. He's kind of a homer now, but he was a Dallas Cowboys fan growing up, big-time Dallas Cowboys fan, and I was a Miami Dolphin fan. And I remember growing up watching Miami play Dallas on Thanksgiving, and it was snowing in Dallas. And Miami was down by like 1 or 2 points. They were driving this back in the 90s when Marino was the quarterback. Yeah, and all of a sudden, the Miami kicker gets up to hit the ball, and he kicked the ball to win the game, and they block it. And you see all these Cowboys waving everybody off. And I'm just on the floor, just almost in tears. I was just a young kid. Mark's cheering, and all of a sudden, Leon Lett comes and just dives at the ball. And like everybody's like confused. What is going on? The Dallas guys are looking. All of a sudden, there's this scrum for the ball, and Miami came away with it at the 2-yard line, and went on to kick the game-winning field goal. And Mark just stared at me, said some few cuss words, and I was young enough to know not to piss him off at the time. And so I just kind of sat there with a kind of a little bit of a smirk on my face, not too big because he would have punched me, but that's one of my memories that I'll always remember, is that Leon Lett play.
You know, it's it's a very familiar feeling you're describing. That feeling of being the little brother, and your team does well, and your older brother, his team just got beat, and you kind of just have to sit there in all of your glory and hold it in.
Yep. You just enjoy it.
You know, and
silent enjoyment.
And they know that you want to burst out, and then they snap, and they're like, all right, just go ahead, and then you start cheering or whatever, and they chase you around the house.
And then they beat you up. And growing up in the Justice household, you had to learn to fight for yourself. There's no doubt about that.
Because we all like different teams, you know. That's one thing about growing up in Utah, and we're big football fans. There is no football team in Utah. Nope. You know, not an NFL team, and so we all got to pick different teams. And so over the years, we have these little games where they play each other, and we got to compete. It's pretty fun.
You know, now it's,
I like those memories too.
Yeah, they're pretty fond. Now it's not getting offended or anything. It's just like, hey, great game. You know, now it is. But growing up, it was a little bit different. So you know, I'm looking forward to this Thanksgiving dinner. This Thanksgiving, I know you're going to be cooking for the family, correct?
Yeah, I'm cooking the turkeys, and because I'm cooking the turkeys, I'm going to do the stuffing and the mashed potatoes as well, and the gravy. Because that kind of all works together, the drippings and
pretty much the majority of the meal.
Part of the meal. Yeah. Everybody else is bringing pies and all that kind of stuff. We're going to probably have, I don't know, 25 or 30 people there, Matt. It's
you got Chris's family, Mark's family, your family, Mikey's family, Davey. I think Jenny's going over there. Mom.
Sure.
I will not be there. I am having Thanksgiving with the wife's family this year. Her little brother has been away at school for 6 years, and he's kind of the favorite of the family, so he's coming in. So we're going up there to have Thanksgiving. I'm gonna try to jump over there. I think it's only going to be like 5 blocks away, so I'm gonna try to jump over there after meal and say hello to everybody.
Well, I'm usually with the in-laws, but they're heading out of town for a family event in California, so that gave me the opportunity to go down and cook.
I was going to say,
I like to cook.
I was wondering that. Like, you are typically always with the in-laws.
Yeah, I'm always with Barb and Raj, but this time they're going to California. One of their nieces is going on a Mormon mission.
Oh, nice.
And so they're going out there to do that, yeah.
Fantastic.
So, but one of my favorite Thanksgiving memories, I got to remind you of this, is all of the Axis and Allies games that we would drag out.
Wow.
That would never end up.
Wow. I can't believe I didn't think about this.
If you guys don't know what the game Axis and Allies is, it's a board game. It's a World War II board game where there are 5 different, countries that you can be. You can be Japan, you can be Russia, you can be Germany, you can be the UK, or you can be the USA. And you split up in teams, and everybody takes their country, and you've got the Axis versus the Allies, and it's kind of designed pretty much for the Allies to win the game the way it is, but it's possible it goes the other way, and it's a competitive kind of a war board game. Imagine the game Risk on steroids.
Yep.
And as competitive as we are, Matt, those games didn't usually end with a hug, did they?
Oh, Tim, those games typically ended with somebody throwing the board across the room after 6 hours, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I know, again, won't say names, but we both know who typically that was. But the funniest part of that game was the interpretation of the rules, and we had played this game so many times we can count, but the fight always occurred on an interpretation of what you could do with the rule, in terms of, it was just the absolute, and it was always like, we were all culprits of this. In one game, we would argue we could do this, and then in the other game, when it hurt us, we would argue that you can't do that. And it just went back and forth for years.
Infantrymen in a tank in a cargo ship and then land? You can't
That's
do
not
that.
It.
We did it last time.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, the rule says this right here. Look at the rule book.
Somebody get the rule book. And then it would end up in a fight, and oh Lord, like some of the brothers would be like, I'm not playing any longer. But
whoever designed that game with the knowledge that it takes 4 hours to complete, those people can go to hell.
4 hours?
That's the worst.
6. I don't.
6 hours. I mean.
Oh, it was to be fair, I think if you actually just played the game, it would take 2 hours. But because you're arguing for another 4 hours, it ends up taking 6 hours. Just roll the dice, and you can get it done in 38 minutes. But that's not how we played the game. But yeah, Thanksgiving, wonderful, wonderful holiday. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the food, family. It's the one day in the year where we can just relax and not even care about anything. Eat as much as we want, and just get on the couch, watch football until 10 o'clock at night, go to bed, wake up Friday, and then probably do nothing on Friday too. I am looking forward to it. You guys have been listening to the Trading Justice podcast, presented by Tackle Trading. You can check out us at the website www.tackletrading.com. You can also check out the podcast and leave us a nice little review, guys. Keep the wind of selling here. Leave us a nice little review there at iTunes. Just type in Trading Justice. Help us push this good message of the Trading Justice podcast out to the people, and help us change people's lives and get out there and make money, because that's our motto. Make money, change lives, ladies and gentlemen. Tim, I want to shift topics real quick. One of the things that you texted me this the other day, and this a couple weeks ago, and you said, "Did you watch Saturday Night Live?" And I said, "Not yet. I like Saturday Night Live. They do a great job for years and years at it." And so typically I'll watch it on like Hulu or whatnot because I won't stay up and watch it on Saturday night. So I said, "No, not yet." He said, "So you haven't seen the controversy?" And I said, "No, what controversy?" He's like, "Chris Rock stand-up." And so I watched it, and when I first watched it, Tim, I got to be honest, I didn't think anything of it. I watched the monologue again. I didn't think anything of it. And then I went out and read some forums and whatnot, and I'm like, what? What? People, and so I wanted to play a couple clips, and I want to get your take on it, because I know you had a similar reaction, but I want to get your take on it. So I'm going to play a couple clips, so we're gonna listen to the clip, and then I want to get your take on it, okay?
Okay.
All right, here we go.
It's great to be back, great to be in New York, great to be at Saturday Night Live. It's great to be here the day after Halloween. I can't believe some of y'all made it. And, yesterday was Halloween. Tomorrow's the New York City Marathon. Yeah, scary, what could go wrong there, right? Well, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. New York's gonna be fine, just like Boston's fine after the marathon. Well, that Boston Marathon was scary, man. That was scary, man. Because I love Boston. I love the people there. But that was probably the most frightening, sadistic terrorist attack ever. Just think about it. 26 miles. 26 miles. 26 miles is a long drive. If you call up one of your friends, "Hey man, I need you to pick me up," where you at? About 26 miles away. You better get Uber. 26 miles. People jogging for 26 miles, man. 26. Their knees are hurting. Their feet are killing them. If you're a woman, there's blood coming out your titties. 26 miles. You've been training for a year. You finally get to the finish line, and somebody screams, "Run!"
All right, pause. Because there's different segments here. First of all, what a great joke.
It's a fantastic joke.
Chris Rock is just an absolute precise comic. He knows Saturday Night Live, Matt, is not an easy place to do comedy.
No, it's not.
I've been to comedy. Tough. I'm not a comedian. I couldn't stand up there. I probably would try and bomb, and that's fine. Neither here nor there. But I love comedians. And when you go to a comedy club, remember we went to that one, I think it was the Comedy Cellar in New York City, that one time we were in Times Square.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
Famous place. And we were just laughing our butt off. Comedy clubs are generally kind of like dark, dingy rooms with, a stage up there, bricks behind it. 20, 30 people, maybe 50, maybe. I don't know.
I think in the Comedy Cellar there was like maybe 30 people in there. They served some food and drinks, and people would get up, and I thought there were some really funny ones, and there was some ones that weren't so funny. But it's tough. The rooms are tough. They expect you to come and bring it. But I'll tell you about this little joke here. A lot of comedian jokes come out of some degree of pain. It's like, and that's why
the whole point of comedy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
we're
to make light of the subject.
We can laugh at it.
It's making light of the subject, and so I love the delivery here. I just love the whole being here. It's a New York City Marathon, and he's talking about, and he's putting them into trance a little bit. It's kind of like NLP, NLP in terms of the putting people into trance and whatnot. And he's getting up there and he's jogging, he's doing the visual, and he's saying 26 miles, and he's just 26 miles, and he's talking about the pain, and everybody's kind of feeling it. And then then at the end he just says, "You get to the end of it, it's just run." I honestly, I was laughing. I was laughing. I thought it was a hell of a joke. I didn't understand the controversy of it, but people got upset. I don't get it, T.
Well, we live in a world now where some people are so politically correct that you're going to have people upset at you no matter what you talk about.
Sure.
Let's start with that. Okay, whether you out there find this offensive or not, that I don't care what about that. I would even have a conversation with you if you did find it offensive, and I would listen. I'd disagree, but I would listen. Now, we live in such a politically correct world, from the right, from the left, from the center, from the media, from everywhere you can look, that it's like you can't even talk about anything without somebody throwing a fit and starting a MoveOn.org petition.
It's ridiculous. It's crazy, Tim. To sit there and listen to people get so politically correct that you can't talk about anything, you can't make light of any subject, or you're going to offend this party or that party. It's a goddamn joke is what it is, and I can't stand it.
You remember the Boston bombing, right?
Yeah, it was last year.
Yeah, of course you do. I remember when that happened. I was so shook at my core as a human being.
Sad, man.
It's upsetting.
So
then a comedian can get on stage and make me at least kind of smirk and giggle a little bit over a tragedy.
And let
That's
go
the
of
point
it.
Of comedy.
And let go of it a little bit. And make yourself feel good about a terrible, painful situation. That's not bad. Let's go on and listen to some more of this. Here's Chris Rock. Once again, it's the Saturday Night Monologue from, I believe it's the 1st of November, if you want to check it out.
That is horrible, man. But hey, the good people of Boston bounced back. That's right. And New York will bounce back. That's right. New York, we had our own terrorist attack, and we bounced back. That's right. Now we got the Freedom Tower. The Freedom, have you seen the Freedom Tower? You can see it no matter where you're at. If you can't see it from here, then you're in Connecticut, okay? Freedom Tower, anyway you look. Now, they should change the name from the Freedom Tower to the Never Going In There Tower. Because I'm never going in there. There is no circumstance that will ever get me in that building. Are you kidding me?
Okay, tell me something.
He's brilliant. He's willing to tackle. The reason I was bringing up the Comedy Club space and everything earlier, Saturday Night Live. I listen to a lot of comedy shows. People who interview comedians. Some of my favorite podcasts are about that. So I've heard them talk about this too. Saturday Night Live, they do a run through in front of no audience, and then they bring in an audience, not drinking any alcohol, Matt. So they're not exactly liquored up or anything. It's a dry audience. You're the first one out there. There's no opener. There's no one to shake them up, anything like that. And you've got to do 7 minutes to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's not an easy thing to do to get laughs. And he tackled, a set here that is just hilarious. And he's right. You going in that?
Well,
would you go in that building intentionally just because to give a big F you to? Whatever.
Not only that, but he's doing it in New York. He's talking about New York. And New Yorkers are tough, man. New Yorkers are tough.
Well, and he's lived there and worked there. Yeah. He's one of them. So he's talking about an experience in his community that he lived through.
Listen, I don't blame him for not wanting to go into the Freedom Tower. Are you kidding me? I don't blame him. And I just think it was absolute genius the way he kind of presented it. So let's kind of listen to a couple more segments here.
My God! What do they have? Does this building duck? What are they thinking? Like, who's the corporate sponsor? Target? Stop it! In the same spot? They put another skyscraper in the same spot? What kind of arrogant Floyd Mayweather crap is this? In the same spot? What businesses are they going to put in the Freedom Tower? They better put some mandatory stuff in there. Stuff you can't get out of, like the IRS, family court, DMV. Because they put a sunglass hut in there, it's going to be empty.
Dude, that is great. Dude, that's great.
Okay, laugh or not, some of you probably out there are busting up. I think it's hilarious.
Dude, I've watched this 3 times and have laughed every single time.
Here's my thing, Matt.
Genius.
If you don't find it funny, that's fine. Why do you have to get offended? And even if you do get offended, that's fine. But why do we have to make this big social media driven culture where everybody's got to have their comeuppance when they say something offensive or politically incorrect or just that you don't like?
Everybody wants to say something outlandish on Facebook. Everybody wants to spark the thought, spark the communication on Twitter. And it's absolutely driving me insane. and it just is. And so we're living in a social driven media circus, and everybody's got to get their opinion out, and it's just we're seeing the same thing with Ferguson that we'll talk about here in just a second, because we don't shy away from any topic here at the Trading Justice Podcast. So we'll talk about that here in a second as well. Let's continue it here, Chris Rock here.
I am never going in the Freedom Tower, man. Are you kidding me? The same spot. Hey, I got robbed on 48th and 8th about 20 years ago. I have not been back to 48th and 8th. No. I am never going in the Freedom Tower. I don't care if Scarlett Johansson is butt naked on the 89th floor in a plate of ribs. I'm not going in there, all right? No. People are like, come on, man, don't joke about the Freedom Tower. That has something to do with 9/11. Hey, I'm not joking about 9/11. I'm not. But you gotta realize, we are in America. And in America, there are no sacred days, because we commercialize everything.
Before I get into this is where I think is one of the best parts of Chris Rock, is his monologue here, where he gets into there's no sacred days in America, because you know what, Tim? Out of a lot of pure genius comedy is a tremendous amount of truth. A tremendous amount of truth. Well, that's the whole
point of good comedy. I mean, the best comics, think about them. Carlin, you know, Chris Rock, even Jerry Seinfeld. There is something behind it, usually. Louis C.K. I think Louis C.K. is the top comic in America right now. I don't think that's really outlandish to say that, but, he's sending a message at times, and you don't have to agree with their politics or their perspective, but I think from any great comedy comes a voice behind it. And if they can make you laugh while they do it, first of all, that's why Jon Stewart was so powerful politically for so long. Mm-hmm. If you can be funny while you're delivering a message, guess what? You're probably going to be pretty successful at delivering that message. Well, now,
and on the other side of it, Bill Maher on the left side of it, he does it a little too much. I kind of like Bill Maher. But
I don't find him funny.
But I don't find he's lost. He's lost it. He's lost it. Now he comes across more as just a cynic.
Smug.
More than anything. Yeah. But that's not what Louis C.K. does. That's not what Chris Rock is doing here. So let's listen to Chris Rock's Christmas.
I gotta tell you, before you move it on. Yeah. You know that joke he said about going to 48th and 8th because he got robbed there once?
Yeah.
Totally registered with that. I was in Las Vegas when I was 22 years old, and I got mugged 2 blocks from the Stratosphere by a Denny's at 4 a.m. I'd never go down there anymore. Even when I'm in Vegas at noon, at 2 o'clock, I'll never go by that spot anymore because I know it's a pretty rough neighborhood. I have no idea why dumb 22-year-old kid from a small town thought it was smart to walk around Vegas at 2 a.m. or at 4 a.m., but I got mugged there. And so when he said that, it took me right back to exactly that story. Yeah. Some guy came up and robbed me on the street, Matt.
Oh, my goodness. I've never been robbed. I have never had that experience. So, and I hope to God I never actually have to have that experience. So here's Chris Rock continuing on Saturday Night Live.
So we're only 5 years away from 9/11 sales. That's right. You're gonna hear it on the radio. Like, come on down to Red Lobster. These shrimp are $9.11. That's right. No, it doesn't matter what the holiday is. Martin Luther King Day is gonna be the same thing. You're gonna be watching TV like, these Toyotas are practically free at last. Free at last. These Toyotas are practically free at last. This MLK birthday, Medea's got a dream. It's America. We commercialize everything. Look what we did to Christmas. Christmas is Jesus' birthday. It's Jesus' birthday. Now, I don't know Jesus. But from what I've read, Jesus is the least materialistic person to ever roam the earth. No bling on Jesus. Jesus kept a low profile, and we turned his birthday into the most materialistic day of the year. Matter of fact, we have the Jesus birthday season. It's a whole season of materialism. Then at the end of the Jesus birthday season, we have the nerve to have an economist come on TV and tell you how horrible the Jesus birthday season was this year.
Dude, that, I think, is genius. I mean, it's something that really registers with me because I can't stand the spending and the greed that Christmas has become. it should be a season of giving and thankfulness and worship, and for many different creeds in many different capacities. And now it's all about Black Friday sales, and now it's Cyber Monday, Cyber Tuesday. It's to kids growing up, it's a competition with other families about how much you can outspend everybody, and it's just and he's right. And then you have economists come on and say either we had great spending or we had horrible spending, and and companies literally turn black or red depending on what they sell on Black Friday. It absolutely disgusts me.
Yeah, I can bitch about Christmas later, but the one thing that is driving me nuts, along with almost everybody else in the world, is that you see Christmas up in like October 1st. Like in Walmart and Kmart.
You start seeing Christmas. Like literally, I think the first time I saw something to do with Christmas this year was like in August. I think I seen something in August. Well, and I don't blame the companies,
Matt. If they can sell it, they can
sell it.
I blame the
consumers. I blame consumers.
Because somebody wants it, it's consumers.
Listen, like most things,
we are demanding this for something.
Like most things in American society, you can blame consumers because the company is just going to take advantage of it. It's the same thing that Wall Street does with 401ks. Okay, they're going to take advantage of. Consumers give their money away constantly. Consumers do this and consumers do that. Wall Street's going to take advantage of it. Corporate America's going to take advantage of it. And unless consumers educate themselves, they're going to continue to be a victim to almost every single entity in the marketplace, and that's a sad state of reality. I want to shift topics from Chris Rock, but I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation on that, Tim. I think we're both on the same page.
Here's my thing. I gotta make my only point about this. This is why I text you, guys. If you're out there and you're offended when something comes on TV, change the channel. If something on our podcast offends you, find another podcast. Okay, It's okay to be offended. You don't have to try to get these comedians and entertainers fired from their jobs and sign some petition. I mean, come on. Political incorrectness allows us to continue to further the discussion about these topics, Matt.
Hey,
you have to push the boundaries at times.
But guess what nobody can do?
Where the center is.
Guess what nobody can do? Nobody can fire us from the Trading Justice podcast. You want to know why?
That's why I love
we
podcasting.
Own it. We own it.
Yeah.
It's ours.
Yeah.
Good luck to the haters out there. We're going to keep pushing the message out there. We're going to keep helping people, and we're going to keep preaching the good word of taking control for yourself, regardless if it gets you guys outside your box or not. So that a boy, I like it, T-Dog. All right, let's go ahead and last topic I wanted to talk about today was the Ferguson topic and what's happening in Ferguson, Missouri. And you know what, Tim? I'll tell you, I'm saddened. I'm just sad on so many different levels. I'm just saddened. I don't understand it, and I don't even know what to say about it. What do you mean
you don't understand it?
I
don't understand.
I don't understand. Okay. I understand.
I call bullshit. I think you understand.
I do.
What do you not understand about it?
I do understand why people do what they do.
People are pissed off and feel oppressed, and there's 400 years of history that's leading them to their decisions. Now,
is there really though? Is there really 400 years of history now leading to that decision?
Set the stage for everybody. So if anybody out there is living under a rock, if they don't know what we're talking about, set the stage for everybody.
There was a police officer in Ferguson, Missouri, who basically shot and killed an 18-year-old kid. Very sad story. Sad for the family of Mr. Brown. Sad for the community. I mean, it's a very, very sad story. And I understand the pain that comes out of that. There was massive social upheaval from what happened in this because the kid was arrested, and I don't know all the details. And guess what? Nobody knows all the details. We weren't in the grand jury to really kind of look at all the evidence. But from what we understand, I guess the kid, Mr. Brown, had. What did he do? He robbed a store, or I don't know if he robbed a store. He did something, but he got arrested.
Honestly,
and the cop
think the details of the thing, they might be important to somebody who sits and watches CNN or Fox News all day. That's not the important part for me. He robbed a store. He stole some cigarettes. He got chased down by the cop, I think. Mm-hmm. He attacked the cop. I believe is his name. Cop shot him dead. There's a lot of other parts of that, and I know that people are debating this and that part of it. I think that's missing the big picture by getting into those finite things. Mm-hmm. You have another instance of the police encountering an individual and using his gun. Now that's going to happen. I'm not police. There was never a chance in my life I was ever going to become police.
Zero chance.
I respect police, and
Sometimes.
I have family and friends who are police.
Yep.
Okay, but I am not police. So I don't have that perspective completely of what that would be like to go out there and encounter the community.
Tim, let me just tell you what a police officer told me, and I'm not going to tell what his name was, but I know a gentleman who is going through the police academy in Utah, and and I asked him about kind of the protocol about what everything is, and what he told me the protocol is if you feel threatened in any capacity, you shoot to kill. That's what he told me, and I said, seriously? He says, yeah. He says he was going through training, and as they're going through training, they go through these simulated experiences, and he basically, instead of shooting, he didn't shoot, and he basically yelled at the guy to put down the weapon. It's like these fake simulation, whatnot. I don't know exactly what goes on, but he got reprimanded for not shooting. Literally for not shooting when
the guy has a gun. When you feel the same threat back.
Not even just a gun, a knife. It could be a variety of different ways. But and so this officer shoots the kid, and it's just it's sad. There is a lot of mistrust between police and society, and it's something that I do share, Tim. I remember when growing up, I had a car. It was a Mitsubishi Eclipse. Yes, I did have one when I was back in college. And I went to a grocery store at 2 o'clock in the morning one time, parked the car, went into the Smiths there in Salt Lake City, Utah, and came out, had groceries in my hand, and I was on the phone with my buddy Frank. And so I'm carrying the groceries, and I'm talking to Frank. And all of a sudden, 4 police cars surround me, guns drawn. Guy, literally, before I even register what is happening, this police officer has a gun basically just 3 feet from my face, just screaming at the top of my lungs to drop my groceries and get my hands in the air. And so I'm like, okay. And so I drop him, and he takes my hands, puts my hands behind my back, and throws me on the hood of my car. And there's another police officer telling the other cop to calm down. And I'm still kind of like, what in the world is going on? And I'm just trying to ask them, what is going on? And they're just, the one cop has my hand behind me, like leaning against me on the car. And I'm just like, I don't understand what's going on. And they had thought I had stolen my car. Okay, that's what they had thought. They had got a thing about some Eclipse that had been stolen in the area. And so without even pulling me over or asking me, they surrounded me with 4 cop cars, guns drawn, throw me on the hood of my car. Once they figured it out, the cop who was the kind of the bully of the bunch, he just storms off in his car and drives off. And then another cop just stays out and just as apologetic as humanly possible. I actually got a call from their boss or whatever, apologizing for it and whatnot. And I never did anything about it.
Sue the hell out of him. I know that's probably not the right response. That's my reaction right now. I don't remember this story.
I was first year law school. If a cop
twisted my arm over something and let's say broke my arm or something, I would sue him. I would have no problem with that.
You know what? He didn't break my arm. He didn't hurt me. He just, he pissed me off more than he did anything. But coming from a local community like Huntington and whatnot, you grow up doing stuff like that, and it more bothered me than anything else.
Sure.
But I didn't feel like my civil rights.
Let me set the stage here a little bit, because where you lived at the time, people might be hearing Salt Lake City. When Matt was in law school, he lived in a neighborhood that wasn't exactly a nice neighborhood.
No,
I don't think that's hard to say that.
There was about 3 doors down. There was a meth shop. It was ghetto. That my first year in law school.
It was a rough neighborhood.
It was ghetto.
Yeah, it was a rough neighborhood, and so I'm sure these police probably encounter crime and deal with things different than say somebody who's living in the suburbs. So
that would not have happened.
I don't
know
their perspective.
Let's just say that.
No.
But it was so obviously nothing that bad, but I do have a distrust of police. I do think police will take it completely beyond the realm of what needs to happen at times. But I also understand that it's a touchy subject and it's a fine line. My heart goes out to people of Ferguson.
About the Ferguson case, with all the press and all of the focus on this, the fact that they did not indict him probably means they didn't have a reason to.
Well, Tim, there was 12 people on the indictment jury. There was 9 white, 3 black. Okay, and it doesn't take a lot to indict somebody of a crime. It's you don't have to even prove beyond a reasonable doubt to indict somebody. Indicting somebody is almost a given. And so if there wasn't even enough evidence to indict this individual in terms of an abuse of force or whatever, then you got to question that to some degree. But when I look at this situation, you know, I'm seeing it. The thing that makes me most sad is from a societal perspective, because this individual, this young man, was killed, and that's about as sad as you can get. Loss of life. You don't know the situations behind it, but the thing about it is, we didn't even, as a society, we didn't even allow due process to happen. We didn't even allow evidence to come out. I mean, we have Facebook justice now, T. I mean, that's how we judge society. It's a joke.
I understand, and I feel first for the community.
Absolutely.
Because if you're a business owner there and some group of assholes are there burning your business down because of something, you worked your whole life to put up a retail shop or something like that, it's your only livelihood, and then they're sitting there looting you. I feel for those people. I feel for the community who is peacefully protesting and trying to just come up with a solution, a better relationship with police or whatever it is.
You know what I
would never condone.
I kind of like the fact that in some major metropolitan cities you are seeing a lot of peaceful protest. You know, and that's good. And because communication should happen. What I don't understand, I truly don't. I don't understand destroying your own community. That is something I will never understand. I don't care what the historical justification is. You want to destroy your own community. You want to burn your own businesses. You want to destroy your own buildings. How is that pushing the social agenda? How is that pushing your agenda? You know, I don't get it. I just don't get that aspect. I understand we need to discuss. We need to have communications. I love the protest. I love it. I don't understand rioting. It doesn't get us anywhere.
I'm a believer that you should be able to publicly and peacefully protest anything you want.
As our Constitution allows us to.
Absolutely. You know, if you're, you know, that, what are the Baptist church, the crazy ones? And I say crazy nicely.
Crazy does not mean we don't like. Crazy means they're just a little abnormal, which we do like.
They are crazy, but
okay.
They have the right to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
You know, the American Nazi Party can go out there in the streets and hold a protest. You know, peacefully.
Listen, you're absolutely right. Anybody can protest whatever they want. There's nothing in our laws that say you can't think whatever you want. I don't agree with it. You know, if the Nazi Party wants to come out there and hold a peaceful rally, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with their agenda, but I believe in my core that they have a right to speak about it. You know, does a corporation have a right to fire anybody? Absolutely, but government doesn't.
Well, and I'll even say this: if you are in any of these places and you're looting, causing public destruction or damage, I hope you get arrested.
I do too.
I hope police can do their job effectively and actually arrest these people. I'm not defending those people, no. But it doesn't make me sad. It really just makes me think, and it makes me wonder because I'm. You know, I think I'm a philosopher first, Matt, and I don't say that. I know a lot of people would giggle at that. Mark would make fun of me for saying that. But I think about the world first from just an abstract perspective.
So and what? You're not Aristotle? You're not Plato? You're not Socrates?
No, just
you can still be a philosopher. That's fine.
I'm a hillbilly philosopher. How about that?
Hey, Tim.
I'm a hillbilly philosopher.
Real quick, you've been listening to the Trading Justice podcast. Tim's going to give us our final thought, and then we got to end this podcast because we got a live Trading Justice podcast starting in 10 minutes, Tim. So the final thoughts on this, Ferguson, on your being a thinker, and then we're going to sum it up and get out of here.
Sure. Here's my thing, is when you see a group of people react in the way they do, judge them, prosecute them, arrest them if they're causing destruction, but also step back and ask yourself, why is this happening? Mm-hmm. Is there something we need to change about the way police interact with their communities? Mm-hmm. Is there a deeper root problem there that needs to be talked about? You don't have to defend an action and to be able to understand something from it or to gain something from tragedy. I think it's horrible what's happening, but it does make me think, is there something inherently going on in this system that we need to address? I believe there is, Matt.
I absolutely agree 100%. There's always something underneath the pain. There's always something underneath the anger, and that's what to the core of it, that's what we have to address as a society. But the only way we can address it is if we openly talk about it, if we openly communicate about it, and talk about some of the things we don't understand, talk about some of the things we just don't get, because we can get other people's perspective. But by not talking about it, nothing is going to change. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to the Trading Justice podcast presented by Tackle Trading. Check us out at iTunes, Trading Justice. Leave us a nice little review. Go to the website, check out everything we got going on over there at Tackle Trading. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the Trading Justice podcast. If you've enjoyed yourself and think that the conversations and topics we've covered are important, help spread the word. Give us your feedback. 5 stars on iTunes, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. The Trading Justice podcast is proudly sponsored by TackleTrading.com. Get off the sidelines and get in the game.